Hi all, Sama Morningstar here, and I'll just start this morning with a little gazing meditation, some fine artwork. Hi Jason, we're just gazing at some artwork right now this morning to begin shifting into a different brainwave frequency. Looking at artwork is one way to shift our brain from beta frequency, which is the logical thinking. Good morning, Jason. And most people are in that beta brainwave frequency pretty much all the time, except when we're sleeping. But during our waking state, we're trained in this society, American modern culture, that that beta brainwave, always thinking logically, step A to step B, that's the most productive and the best state of mind to be in all the time. And unfortunately, it's not really the healthiest state of mind to be in all the time. And so being in that state of mind all the time can limit our health and our success. And I'll tell you more about that, why that is, after we just take a moment to gaze at this wonderful painting that my husband's been working on and start to feel the effects of that. This is a painting that my husband has done. It's got lots of texture. I'll get in a little bit closer. It's got lots of glitter on it. It even has some crystals. The texture is made with drywall compound, which we have texture. Most people have textures on their walls, but they're less prominent. And acrylic paint on a canvas. And one thing that I love about doing art and gazing at art, particularly my husband's art and mine as well, is that you really can't think logically about it. Doesn't necessarily make sense. And yet there's a beauty to it, a dreaminess. And that's what I invite you to experience now. So welcome. And I invite you as well there's some more artwork behind me that you can gaze at any time during this broadcast. And so I'd love to answer any questions you might have at any time during this broadcast, as well as receive any hearts that you care to share. And please feel free as well to invite your friends and other people that are following you to the broadcast if you feel that they might enjoy it. So my name is Sama Morningstar, and hi Joe. And I am sharing a little bit about why shifting our brainwave frequencies is so important for our health. Hi. And for our success as well. Much of our training that we received if we went to school here in the United States and training, We received a lot of training that being in the beta brainwave frequency, where we're thinking in a linear, logical fashion and solving problems one after the other, that was the most productive way to operate and to think. And it's getting more and more like that in our schools. As we've cut out the music programs, the art programs, to get to the basics of math, language, science. These are all very logical, linear ways of thinking. And there's this belief system that that is the most effective way to think and be, is in those brainwave frequencies. And the truth is that those brainwave frequencies are the fastest brainwave frequencies, and they have the most tendency to have us in fight and flight mode. When we're in fight, and when our whole nervous system is in the mode of running away or fighting, we're in beta brainwave frequencies. And so when we're in beta brainwave frequencies, we're very likely to get in fight and flight mode, especially this day and age when, it's just all we can do to keep up with the slew of problems that we're needing to solve. And the list gets longer, and there never seems to be enough hours in the day to solve all the problems that we're faced with. And the truth of the matter is, the best and most all-encompassing solutions and information about whatever it is that's troubling us actually can come, and the most brilliant inventions actually come from other brainwave frequencies. There's the alpha brainwave frequency, which is more of a relaxed waking state, where you're more in the daydreaming state, where a lot more of our creativity can come from, creating art that doesn't have any logical function necessarily, just getting into that creative state, meditation, breathing. Some people can get into that state with certain forms of exercise, dancing, breathe. Yes, I mentioned breathing. It's a big thing for me. You might see many more scopes about breathing from me. So that's one of the waking brainwave states that is really helpful. It also, when we switch into the alpha state, we're much less likely to be in the fight and flight mode. In fact, you have to switch out of fight and flight mode to get into the alpha state. And this is very important this day and age, because many of our health ailments are due to being stuck in the fight and flight mode. We get so up to speed in our beta brainwaves and one problem after the next that we're always fighting the tiger. And our systems are when our nervous system is in that state, our organs are functioning at a reduced amount, a less than optimal amount, and all of our systems are reduced in their functioning. All of your blood rushes to your large muscles, and you're ready to run away or fight. And we're not even thinking as clearly as we can. Our brain isn't even functioning at its optimum capacity. And we don't have the widest range of creative solutions available to us. And so this is why I feel it's so essential to shift our brainwave frequencies through radical self-care practices. I'm a big proponent of napping, meditation, massage therapy. I'm a massage therapist, so I often call myself a professional nap assistant. We don't get nearly enough sleep. During sleep and on the way to sleep and waking up from sleep are when we experience the other brainwave frequencies most frequently, the theta and delta brainwave frequencies. And those are where we can tap in, where our internal healing systems are maximized, are in those brainwave frequencies. Some in the alpha, but the most in the theta and delta. And in the dream state, where we get more contact and connection to a wider scope of inspiration, of information from a wider, outside of what we know in our logical mind. And this is where many of our creative solutions come from. You know, they say the fellow who invented the sewing machine got the inspiration. He was just racking his brain for many, many weeks. I don't know how long, but for a long time, trying to figure out how to get the thread for the needle through the needle, when you had to attach the back of the needle to the sewing machine, and that's normally where the thread goes through the needle when you sew. When you stitch by hand, needles have the thread in the back of the needle and the point at the front of the needle. And he couldn't get, with the hole at the back of the needle, that's where the needle was being held by the machine. So how was the thread supposed to go through the needle? And he was racking his brain. He couldn't figure it out. And the solution came to him in a dream, where he dreamt of being attacked by, hi Joe, thank you for joining. He dreamt of being attacked by people with spears that had holes in the tips of the spears. And when he woke up and remembered that dream, it was like, eureka, I can put the hole for the thread in the tip of the needle. And that's how sewing machines were invented. So when we deprive ourselves of generous sleep time, when I feel, get up first thing in the morning and immediately start problem solving and start thinking about getting into beta brainwave frequency. When we don't give ourselves adequate time during the day to daydream, to gaze at art, to be creative, to listen to music and really allow ourselves to be absorbed in the music, to dance, to exercise in a fun way. There's a lot of exercise programs these days are get to your proper, it's very logical, get to your proper level of heart rate for the proper number of minutes, and make sure you work out every single muscle group and check it off of your list. And it's a very brainwave frequency endeavor, beta brainwave frequency. My preferred exercise are going for walks in nature and dancing and working around the garden in a non-linear, logical way, just enjoying the garden, walking through the garden, moving about in the yard, and taking plenty of time to gaze at the flowers, gaze at the sky, sunbathe, things like that. Swimming in the pool, but not laps, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Laps are great, but I much prefer trying my hand at synchronized swimming or things like that, where I can be creative and activate the alpha brainwave. And also, when we are doing exercise of any form, to be aware of our breath and our breathing. So if we are riding a bicycle, per se, we're going from one place to another, we can breathe and count the rotations of our feet on the bicycle per breath. So inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. And this rhythmic breath consciousness is a very meditative and effective way of shifting our beta brainwave frequency. So even if you do go to the gym and get on the treadmill or something like that, you can still use it to shift into your alpha brainwave state by focusing on your breath. and the rhythmic nature of your breath in coordination with your movement. So these are all suggestions for how to do it and how to shift your brainwave frequency. Meditation, yoga, some styles of yoga. There's a lot of yoga that's very beta brainwave oriented, very much you've got to get so many sun salutations done and so many of this and that done in the hour that you have, and it's very logical and problem solving based. But there's other yoga approaches where you're focusing more on the breath and relaxation and like that. So I encourage you to explore the ways and look at the ways, and if anyone can share, how is it that you like to shift your brainwave into the alpha state, and how do you do that during your waking hours? If anyone has any things that they like that I haven't mentioned, or any questions, I welcome your comments and questions about that. And I'm really grateful for any hearts that you care to give. Looks like there's a couple of viewers out there, and so I would really appreciate any connection that you care to share about how you're feeling about this topic. And otherwise, I think I'll probably complete for now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you at another time. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, please feel free to invite your friends to check it out. All right, thank you. Take care.